Story 1. Blacksmithing and carpentry. I love working with tools and creating items of my own design. I am absolutely terrible at drawing, but I can make a pretty cool knife or chair. Story 2. Professional cat fussing. If you think your cat is a bit lonely, I will come along and give them some scritches. There will be no litter box cleaning, but I will give them treats and a friendly lap to curl up on while I read a book. Story 3. Cleaner, because it is kind of chill and will always be in demand, and you are actually providing a useful service to society. Story 4. I was once a counselor at a rescue mission, and I had to leave because the pay just wasn't enough to support my family. I am still heavily involved there. I volunteer and donate money each month, but I am a licensed home builder now. I do not dislike it, but I know it is not what I am truly meant to do. It pays the bills and my family is supported, but I feel somewhat empty going to work every day. Story 5. Probably a gym teacher. I love sports. I would be that enthusiastic gym teacher who played with everyone and probably took it too seriously as well. Story 6. I would go back to groundskeeper at state parks working for the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Mowing lawns, blazing trails, and protecting natural habitats was fun and not stressful at all. I would leave manufacturing in a heartbeat. Story 7. Teacher, because having the chance to make a difference in children's lives and helping them become better people is a dream. Story 8. If the job still existed, working at a video rental place was the most fun and relaxed job I have ever had. As far as customer service goes, pretty much everyone is in a good mood picking up a movie, so it was a great atmosphere. I feel bad that all those relaxed jobs have gone extinct. Story 9. I would work at a homeless shelter or any municipal or civil group that facilitated some sort of safety net for that group. Story 10. Cemetery maintenance. Cut the grass, do landscaping, clean and repair headstones, dig large holes with an excavator, and I would estimate that 98% of the time I am alone while doing it. Story 11. I would probably still do what I do now, cocktail bartender in a small, intimate venue. I am not sure what else I could find that I would prefer doing. Story 12. Garbage man. Start at 5 a.m. Get 6 hours of work for 8 hours of pay. Take a break at lunch for a big meal and a nap. Wake up and spend time with family. Go to bed and do it all over again. Story 13. As an accountant, it is fascinating to learn about people's personalities based on their purchases, or maybe in a donut shop because it smells good. Story 14. Own and work at an ice cream shop. I have an affinity for ice cream, and it was my first job. I had some of the best times there. Alternatively, I could consider being a college counselor. I have come across both really engaging and truly caring counselors, as well as those who were there just for the paycheck. It makes a difference, and it would be great to be able to possibly make an impact on someone's future. Story 15. I want to be a woodland firefighter, work on a random ship that travels between countries, or work on one of those very remote outposts in the Arctic. Story 16. I would make computer games. I work in software already. If money were not an issue, I would love to create something I am passionate about and have control over. Story 17. I would be a groundskeeper somewhere it is nice most of the year. I get to be outside, listen to audiobooks, and enjoy the day while mowing or doing other projects. Story 18. I would bounce around jobs of different types just to experience them and learn new things. If I never had to worry about the pay, I might as well have fun with it. Story 19. I would work at a tourist center. I would talk to people and give them local suggestions for food and entertainment in the area. You would meet many nice people and share with them the things you love about your area. Story 20. My current job involves sandblasting on different materials using various types of blasting media. However, it is an easy job. I listen to podcasts all day. Additionally, it's a noisy and dirty room, so hardly anyone comes in to bother me. Story 21. Every job? Well, it depends on what they base that pay off of, the pay of a billionaire or the pay of a decent minimum wage employee. Story 22. I would opt for a career in healthcare, specifically as a physician. The ability to directly improve people's lives and contribute to community well-being is profoundly fulfilling, regardless of financial incentives. Story 23. The best job I ever had was desktop support. It involved simple computer maintenance, and I was my own boss. Maybe once a year, we had some big project that took up a week, and then it was back to sitting in my office watching videos all day unless someone needed a password reset. I would go back to that job in a heartbeat if the pay was good. Story 24. Barista. I like making coffee and chatting with people. If all my financial needs were met, I would be pretty relaxed. Story 25. As a teenager, I worked as a page for the public library. My two jobs were to put books back on shelves and occasionally scan shelves for order and neatness and fix them. The rest of the day, I would just spend reading whatever I wanted. It was incredibly relaxing. Plus, all holidays were off and the hours were very practical. The librarians and other pages there were also all cool people. Story 26. Design and build furniture. I already do it as a hobby, but having 40 hours a week to work in my shop without having to worry about money would be amazing. Story 27. I would raise goats for purposes that do not involve slaughtering them. I love goats. My goats would be very happy. I simply want some goats. Story 28. Writing science fiction novels. But unfortunately, user manuals pay a lot more, so I am stuck writing boring stuff instead of space adventures. Story 29. I'm sure there's a better answer, but my favorite job I ever had was when I was a fast food delivery driver. I liked the hours, I liked the people I worked with, and the majority of my job was driving around in my car listening to music and podcasts. Basically, the only downside was that I made no money. Story 30. I would open a sandwich shop. I worked in a pizza place for years during high school and loved it. It was just mindless enough to give my brain a break, and I love to cook, but I am nowhere near good enough to make fancy foods. Story 31. Manage a dog retirement home. Older dogs are less likely to be adopted and generally have more health issues. People move and sometimes do not take their dogs, or natural disasters cause dogs to get lost or abandoned. A nice piece of land up in the mountains where the dogs receive meals, clean water, medical checkups, toys, and plenty of running room. Waking up every day and taking care of these dogs, some who may have given up hope, would be amazing. Story 32. Professional musician. The lack of money is the only reason I didn't pursue it full-time, and it remains just a hobby for me. Story 33. Bookstore owner or any kind of small and serene shop. Otherwise, I would be a detective. I still do want that at a certain point in my life. Story 34. Jets coach. Just mess around, hire random quarterbacks, and maybe try kicking extra points when I feel like it, assuming we score a touchdown in a few games. Story 35. Well, hold on. Are we talking about being paid a lot of money or a little? Because if every job paid the same, it would probably have to be just above minimum wage, but nothing over a 10 years of experience wage. With all that said, I would just continue working for myself because at least I can choose how many times I get paid in a day. Story 36. People are thinking way too hard about this. Just choose your favorite hobby. So for me, it is sperm donation. Story 37. I do not know what career I would choose if money were equal, but I also do not know what career I would choose in real life. I am still just coasting along with no clue which way to head. Story 38. Theoretically, you could be a YouTuber and only post one low-quality video per day. You do not even need to edit it or anything. Just record 8 to 9 minutes of your floor. I think that would give me the most free time to do as I please. Story 39. I would be a librarian. I love books, and I love recommending books to people and seeing them get the same enjoyment that I do. Plus, I think it would be amazing to help people get online to fill out job applications. Finally, since I would not worry much about losing my job as they all pay the same, I would tell those who ban books to go away. Story 40. Nothing. Seriously. If no matter how hard I worked, planned, or studied, I would make the exact same thing as now, I would stop doing anything. What would be the point? Story 41. Museum tour guide or ride operator at one of the big theme parks. I love museums and theme parks. I would love to work at something like the Haunted Mansion at Disney World's Magic Kingdom. Work in information technology on legacy computer systems. It would be nice to leave at the end of work and not have to worry about getting calls overnight. Story 42. Work at the animal shelter. I have been a volunteer since high school, and I would love to make it my career. Unfortunately, places like that need volunteers more than regular employees. Story 43. There are some people who get to test drive the new sports car as soon as they are rolled out of the factory. They get to drive pretty fast to ensure everything is working well. I have always wanted to do that. Story 44. Probably something along the lines of emergency medical technician or firefighter. I always liked helping people and I keep my cool in difficult situations, and I am somewhat desensitized to gore. I might as well put it to good use. Story 45. I worked as a security guard in an office block. I was the only person there after 5. Shifts were basically from 2 to 10 p.m. I would sit around watching closed-circuit television from 2 to 5 p.m. while chatting with office workers. Then, from 5 to 10 p.m., I would just wander about the empty offices, playing ambient music or maybe podcasts. I would find a random room or office to stretch or just lay down and watch videos on my phone. I would even take a nap if I felt like it. The office has amazing 360-degree views of the city, so I would drink coffee while watching the sunset. The top floor had a massive open room that overlooked the city. I would spend a lot of time up there, hours and hours alone. I would call my dad or my grandfather and have a chat. Sometimes I would jog laps. I think when I die, I will have flashbacks of the time I spent in that room. Such beautiful memories watching the sunset while listening to Brian Eno. My first day of sobriety was spent up there. I learned a lot about myself while alone in that room for 2 years. Story 46. My favorite job was working as a fry cook at a takeout wing restaurant with my friends. I would easily go back to that if it were as lucrative as professional work. I would probably do it on a beach somewhere next time, though. Story 47. Disaster relief assistance. Anything on the ground after a disaster affects a community. I am currently working on it by pursuing my master's degree and volunteering. However, I want to help in that sector regardless. Story 48. I would go back to teaching. Honestly, it was my life's calling. I could just never survive on the pay. Story 49. One of those house shopping reality television show jobs. She is a stay-at-home mom and he collects pictures of butterfly wings. Budget 4 million. Story 50. Record store owner, employee, or chef. I love listening to and talking about music with people. I also love making food. My dream is to do one or the other in retirement one day. Story 51. Scientist, which is what I am now. I picked it because I liked it, not because of the money. Or if there were a job to teach people to play different card games, I would do that. I love cards. Story 52. I would be a professional cloud watcher. No deadlines, no bosses, just me, the sky, and the infinite poetry of passing storms and puffy dreams. Story 53. Band director. I almost finished my degree. I left university while going through a divorce. I regret it every day. One day, when I can afford it, I will go back. It is the love and passion that make it worth it. Story 54. I miss working in kitchens, to be honest. My office job is nice, but I loved the fast-paced environment. As long as I do not have to close, that is. Story 55. Security for a company that makes affordable products. Nobody would bother to steal anything, and I would have a relaxed work schedule. Story 56. Probably something at a chill library or hotel. I hate being busy, so I will take whatever lets me relax the most while still feeling like I am bringing positive change. Story 57. Movie theater working on the projectors. A lot of it was data transfer, but working on changing the bulbs and tuning was a lot of fun. Walking around hallways where no one else dared to walk made me feel like the phantom of the movie theater. I actually scared people on more than one occasion just by walking past the end of a hallway no one expected me to be and disappearing behind a door no one used. My manager thought he saw a ghost. Story 58. Mailman is a relaxing job, cruising around your town and other places. You also stay in shape by getting those steps in. Story 59. I would probably be a gardener or a park ranger or something. If I could actually make a living doing that. Story 60. I would go back to giving Jeep tours of the wilderness. I always enjoyed trying new trails, and the kind of tourists who want to get bounced around for a couple of hours just to see unspoiled nature are generally pretty relaxed. I loved it, but the fees barely covered the cost of the equipment. Story 61. Professional clothing handler for modeling shows and swimsuit competitions. Somebody has to hand them the next outfit, and my shallow nature helps with that. Story 62. To be honest, as an orthopedic medical assistant, I love the job and thoroughly enjoy working 4 long days a week. I take great pleasure in helping people and witnessing their recovery process. I truly appreciate the entire experience. Best of all, I do not have the stress of being a doctor or physician assistant. Unfortunately, the pay is quite low. Story 63. I would go back to wildlife rehabilitation, which was the most fulfilling and amazing career as a technician. Human medicine now, not so much. Story 64. I sewed costumes, made crafts, and created wigs. There would be a large collection of all kinds of handmade wings. I hope the work pays for the materials. Story 65. Probably a nurse. I love helping people, and things like vomit or feces do not really bother me. Only excessive blood bothers me, but I do not think nurses deal with that. Story 66. I am a professional pet owner because I would like to have 56 trillion pet cats. I have wanted to do that for my whole life. Story 67. Librarian. Preferably part-time if that could allow me to still live a comfortable life. Reshelving books, helping with the different events provided to the community, setting up special tables featuring books for a certain theme, changing out bulletin boards, and assisting people. I might be romanticizing it a bit, but if that's what I could do, I would be completely in. Story 68. There is a lady who weighs penguins at the St. Louis Zoo. I will bet my zoo could use someone for that. Story 69. I would go back to being a meat cutter. I really like that trade, but you cannot really survive on that pay where I live. I work in technology now, and every waking hour is tainted by work stresses. When I left the meat shop in good shape for the day, I felt great. My time outside of work was mine. Now I worry about reorganizations, contract changes, budget shortages, passive-aggressive management, and imposter syndrome. Story 70. I would continue teaching, but I would only work 3 days a week. 5 days a week is way too much work and stress. Story 71. Probably some sort of chef, baker, or barista. Those would likely be relaxing jobs and help satisfy the creative itch. Story 72. Studying psychology. I do not want to be a therapist or a psychologist. I just want to study it. Either that or my current job as a medical assistant and phlebotomist. I enjoy my job overall. Patients can be a challenge to deal with, to put it lightly, but overall I enjoy it. Especially phlebotomy. Story 73. Assuming I would be good enough to not get fired as a professional vacation reviewer, I just get paid to travel the world and tell people about what is good and what is not. Story 74. I would probably be a group fitness instructor. I would teach a couple of spin or light aerobics classes. If I do not have to worry about money, the thing that becomes hardest in my life is finding the motivation to exercise. Being required to exercise to earn a living solves the motivation problem. Story 75. Astronomer. I could be left alone while looking at the stars through a telescope that costs more than any human's net worth could ever be, given this scenario. Story 76. Probably the same I am doing now, lead software developer. But if there was no compensation consideration, I guess I would not try to push for leadership as much, just code, no worries, clock in, review my ticket queue, submit my pull requests, and clock out. Story 77. I think I am fine being a technical artist or graphics engineer. I fell into this rabbit hole out of pure interest, after all. Story 78. I would put on my old college cap, join my kids on the couch, watch Bluey, and procrastinate. Story 79. I'm a coach for a sport. Being a coach is great because you're always right, and you don't have to do a lot of work. You just show others how to do something. Story 80. If every job paid the same, you would choose a career in teaching. You have always been passionate about helping others learn and grow, and teaching allows you to make a meaningful impact on students' lives. It is fulfilling to inspire curiosity and contribute to their personal development. Story 81. Student. Blogger. Executive assistant for Siri. Executive assistant for Alexa. Professional car detailer. Voice actor, already doing some of this journey. Historical adversary. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.